Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints open up training camp out in Irvine. Maybe the most newsy part of the day was Kendre Miller. Second-year running back Kendre Miller, who missed a bulk of his rookie season with injuries. Injured on the first day. Went into the injury tent with a left hamstring injury, did not return to practice. Dennis Allen, after practice, had this to say about his second-year running back.
Kendre's got a hamstring, so look, that's a player that's going to have to figure out how to stay healthy, because it's hard to make the team, when you're in the training room all the time.
Interesting that he said it's hard to make the team when you're in the training room. Not hard to be an impact guy, not hard to carve a role, hard to make the team. Now, I don't think Kendre Miller, who was a third-round pick a year ago, is in a jeopardy of not making the Saints roster, and quite honestly, I don't know that they have better options at running back, but maybe something could transpire. But Dennis Allen, day one, sounded pretty testy. And that sure feels like a guy who knows he's got a lot on the line personally and professionally here in this season. But Kendre Miller was not there. Alvin Kamara was. And this was obviously a big story all offseason. Kamara left mandatory minicamp early. He's embroiled in somewhat of a contract dispute here with the Saints. We've been through it. Kamara has zero guarantees for 2025. He's got a $25 million deal, but none of it is guaranteed. So he's, in effect, in a contract year, and he wants some stability. Here was Dennis Allen after practice out there on Wednesday about Kamara's first practice back.
Yeah, look, he looked good out here. I liked what I saw. Appreciate the fact that he's out here. He's working with his teammates. He's had a positive attitude, and so that's been good. I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that.
Now, specifically with Alvin Kamara met with reporters after, this is going to be a storyline not only today and through camp, but really throughout the entire season around the Saints, because I don't suspect the Saints are in any hurry to extend Alvin Kamara. There's just no sense in doing it. You have leverage. He has none. He's an aging veteran player. You love him. He's been a great New Orleans Saint. But he's an aging veteran player, and there's no reason to invest long-term into an aging veteran player when you don't have to. But Alvin Kamara was asked, is the holdout minicamp, the desire right now with the whole contract thing? Well, we'll give a listen.
Is this more about money this year or looking ahead? Maybe?
Looking ahead. And I've said it before, I want to be a Saint. You know what I'm saying? I want to retire here. If I got to play football somewhere else, I'll probably be somewhere with my feet kicked up in Africa somewhere or something like that.
So the question was, is the money for this year or for future years? And you heard Kamara say it. He wants to retire a Saint. But he also, while they didn't get into specific dollar amounts, Kamara did say this.
Just for me to set the record, I'm not asking for nothing. I'm not asking for nothing crazy where it's like, oh my gosh, we can't do that. Well, that's my perception of it. Whatever the perception is upstairs with whoever makes those decisions, it's obviously different than what my perception is. So, we just carry on. I got to just do what I do, and I'll focus on what I got to do.
I don't think it's necessarily, and I will compliment the Saints on this, and it's odd because fiscally they've been a very irresponsible organization with how they've managed their cap. But the one thing about the Saints, almost to a fault sometimes, when you talk about free agent dollars, especially with their players, they have their number and that's it. The best example of this recently was Mark Ingram. Ingram and Kamara were a really good 1-2 punch. And Ingram became a free agent, and the Saints had their number. They weren't going over it. And so Ingram left and signed with the Ravens in free agency. And we later learned the difference, the dollar amount difference, in what the Saints had offered and what ultimately he signed for with the Ravens was $200,000. But by that point, the Saints had moved on. So I guess it is a bit odd that this team that is so irresponsible in so many ways that they handle contracts really dig in their heels on their free agent number. It was the same thing, incidentally, with Marcus Williams, who coincidentally also signed with the Ravens. So I don't doubt Alvin Kamara when he says he's not asking for a crazy amount. I bet he's not asking for a crazy amount. How could you ask for a crazy amount at this point in your career? But if you're the New Orleans Saints, you have all of the leverage. There's no reason to go overspend. I mean, if someone's offering you to sell a bicycle to you for $100 and the thing's worth $20 and ain't nobody else lining up to buy it and you got transportation, like, why would I overpay for that thing? There's no reason to do it. If you overpay Alvin Kamara, it's just an emotional buy for what he was for you in the past, and there's no sense to do that because it's not going to help you in the future. The best case scenario is Kamara goes and has an awesome season this year and earns a better contract, and I'm sure the Saints would give it to him. Maybe another team would as well. But Kamara also was asked about why, after walking out at minicamp, he decided to show up at camp, despite, obviously, this ongoing contract situation.
Yeah, I ain't stupid. I ain't going to get the money up. I'm trying to get some money, right? So I was going to be here. I mean, it's no one that has a jersey on. It's nobody, not even, I wouldn't even blame any coaches what's going on with contract issues right now, right? Like, I mean, this happens all across the league. It's happened here. It's happened everywhere, right? You know, people trying to get contracts, trying to get paid. And I'll be a fool to spite my teammates because of a dispute I'm having with upstairs, or I wouldn't even call it a dispute. We're just having conversations about compensation. So, man, I was gonna be here. I mean, Derek saw me and he was surprised, but you know, it's not like I was telling everybody like I'm gonna be here. But man, I'm not that guy. Like I'm for the team, so I'm here. I'm doing what I got to do. I'm working.
He could have stopped with, "I'm not giving that money." Remember, if you no-show training camp, it's a $50,000 fine every day, and there are examples of guys who take on those fines, and it works out. Chris Jones of the Chiefs is a great example of that a year ago. Chris Jones held out. He paid the $50,000 fines every day, ended up costing him, I believe, in the neighborhood of $2 million worth of fines, but he ended up signing a record-breaking deal. It was worth it. He gave up $2 million in fines to sign the record-breaking deal because he had leverage, and ultimately it was a game of chicken. Who's going to blink first? Well, remember, he sat out a game. Remember that? Chris Jones was watching like the opener up in the owner's box. And ultimately, the time came, they're like, all right, we'll pay you. I mean, Emmitt Smith did the same thing back in the day with the Dallas Cowboys. So, you know, some guys will give up that money if it means a longer-term payoff at the end. I don't think Kamara has that leverage at this point. One more from Kamara. And the contract talk is going to be a part of this. And I know not everybody loves contract talks, and I get it. You want to know about your team and all the business stuff, you leave it to the suits. It's more about what's this team going to look like. But it's the Kamara piece of this is just an unavoidable part at the start of camp because it was a big question of whether or not he would be there. There's still the lingering contract issue, and he's a beloved player. I mean, he's arguably the most dynamic athlete the Saints have ever had on offense. I mean, he leads the organization all time in touchdowns. He's going to be a Saints Hall of Famer. He's been awesome, man. We all love Alvin Kamara, and we want to see him finish his career as a Saint, but it's got to make sense as well. But we all think Kamara improving, being healthy and improving in this offense is a key to this offense getting better in 2024. And Kamara said, like, even just in this offseason, he's already noticed a difference from a year ago.
There's a different kind of accountability, I think. And I think, like, when we've been good around here, it was just unspoken. Like, it was certain that you just don't do, and it was certain that you do. And when you keep that right there how it is, then good happens. When that flips and, you know, you kind of let a couple things here slide and a couple things there slide, then you get the result you got the past 2 years.
I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on that. I mean, it's a very, very candid look from Alvin Kamara, the peek behind the curtain. But that's what happens when you don't have the accountability that Sean Payton put in place. And in my opinion, that is the key glaring difference between what you were with Sean Payton and what you are with Dennis Allen. We'll see if Dennis Allen can turn that around. Maybe it takes player-led leadership. Kamara just talked about it there. A lot of that, we'll see how it factors in. But the Saints just pushing off from the dock. Day one of Saints training camp. Of course, we'll have a ton of it covered for you here. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.